Welcome to my channel. This is the story of how one unexpected afternoon with my mother changed the way I saw myself and helped me discover a side of my personality I had never explored before. My name is David, and I have always been surrounded by love, kindness, and the support of my mother and my older sister Hazel. Even though my father was no longer part of our daily lives, the bond once shared with my family filled our home with warmth and happiness. My mother's care and my sister's guidance created a place where I always felt accepted and valued. For as long as I could remember, I had admired the elegance and creativity I saw in the way my mother and sister dressed. Their colorful outfits, beautiful designs, and attention to detail always fascinated me. While my own wardrobe felt simple and ordinary, theirs seemed full of imagination and personality. I often wondered why fashion had to feel so different between boys and girls. At 13 years old, I found myself becoming more curious about the things that brought my family so much joy. My sister Hazel had grown older and was spending more time with her friends, talking about school, hobbies, and all the adventures that came with being a teenager. Her old toys and collections were no longer the center of her world, but I still enjoyed helping her organize them and creating little stories around them. Her dollhouse became a place where my imagination could run freely. I would arrange the tiny furniture, create different scenes, and imagine stories for the characters living inside that miniature world. It was a small escape where creativity mattered more than anything else. When my mother was busy with work and long hours away from home, I tried my best to help around the house. I cleaned, organized, and took care of small responsibilities because I knew how much effort she put into making our lives comfortable. Whenever she came home, her smile and appreciation made every little task feel worthwhile. My mother had a special way of making me feel loved. She always reminded me that I was important to her, and sometimes she would affectionately call me her little dreamer because of my imagination and gentle personality. Although I was different from many boys my age, she always encouraged me to be myself. Sometimes I imagined myself in a world of fantasy, like the characters from the stories I loved. I pictured grand celebrations, beautiful outfits, and a life where everyone could express themselves freely without worrying about what others thought. One afternoon, after finishing my school activities, I was helping my mother around the house when she returned home. I greeted her happily, and she gave me the warm smile that always made me feel safe. She asked about my day, and I told her that school had been fine, although some activities were not really my favorite. I admitted that I enjoyed creative activities more than certain sports and wished I could spend more time doing things that matched my interests. My mother listened carefully and smiled. She told me that everyone discovers their own passions at different times and that there was nothing wrong with enjoying things that made me happy. Later, she changed into a beautiful outfit and came downstairs looking elegant as always. I complimented her, telling her how much I admired her style. She thanked me and then asked if I wanted to help her sort through the laundry. I happily agreed. Together, we gathered the freshly cleaned clothes and began organizing everything. While separating the different clothes, I noticed how many unique styles my mother and sister had compared to my simple collection. I looked at the colorful fabrics and different designs and said, "It feels unfair that girls have so many choices when it comes to clothing, while boys often have fewer options." My mother paused and looked at me with a thoughtful expression. Instead of dismissing my comment, she asked gently, "Would you ever want to explore a different style yourself?" I was surprised by the question. I reminded her that I was a boy and wondered if it would look strange. She smiled and explained that clothing was a way people express themselves and that curiosity was nothing to be embarrassed about. She told me that she had saved some of Hazel's old clothes and accessories from when she was younger. They were stored away, and if I wanted to try a different look just for fun, I could. At first, I felt nervous. I wondered what I would look like and whether it would feel unusual. But my curiosity was stronger than my hesitation. I told my mother I wanted to give it a try. A bright smile appeared on her face. She told me she had always believed that everyone should have the freedom to discover what made them feel confident. Together, we opened the old box that had been stored away under the stairs. Inside were memories from another time, carefully kept clothing, accessories, and items that reminded us of Hazel's childhood. My mother looked through everything and selected an outfit she thought would suit me. It was colorful, carefully designed, and completely different from anything I had worn before. When I saw it, I felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. It was not just about the clothing itself. It was about trying something unfamiliar and stepping outside the usual expectations I had always followed. My mother helped me put together the complete look and encouraged me to stand confidently. She reminded me that the most important thing was not what I wore, but how comfortable and happy I felt being myself. When I finally looked in the mirror, I saw a version of myself I had never expected to see. I was still David, but I was also exploring a new form of expression. The experience felt like discovering a hidden part of my personality. My mother smiled proudly and told me that confidence came from accepting every side of who I was. She encouraged me to walk around, enjoy the moment, and appreciate the experience. As I moved through the room, I realized that style was not only about appearance. It was about creativity, imagination, and having the freedom to express yourself. That afternoon became a memory I would never forget. It was not just about changing clothes. It was about understanding myself better and realizing that everyone has different ways of showing who they are. With my mother's support and my family's love, I learned that being different was something to appreciate. The most important thing was always being true to myself. Walking through the hallway, I could feel every step carrying a new sense of confidence. The fabric moved gently as I walked, and the unfamiliar style made the moment feel almost magical. I turned around with a smile and asked my mother if I looked like someone from a fairy tale. She looked at me with warmth and happiness in her eyes and told me that what mattered most was the confidence I was showing. In that moment, I realized something important about myself. I had always been drawn to creativity, beauty, and the freedom to express who I was. While looking through the collection of old clothes, my mother discovered some accessories that matched the outfit perfectly. She explained that small details could completely change the way someone felt about their appearance. As I looked at myself, I felt like I was discovering a new form of self-expression. Just then, my sister Hazel unexpectedly walked into the hallway and stopped when she saw me standing there with our mother. With a playful smile, she asked what was happening. My mother explained that I had become curious about exploring a different style and wanted to experience something outside my usual clothing. She asked Hazel what she thought. Hazel smiled and said that I already had the confidence, but she could help me create a look that felt even more complete. She invited me into her room, a place filled with memories, creativity, and everything she had collected over the years. She asked me to sit in front of the mirror and promised that she would help me create a look that made me feel special. She reminded me to relax and enjoy the experience because it was about exploring creativity, not trying to become someone else. With patience and care, Hazel helped me experiment with a different appearance. She showed me how small changes could create a completely different feeling. As I watched my reflection slowly change, I felt a mixture of excitement and curiosity. The experience was not about hiding who I was. Instead, it felt like opening a door to another side of my personality that I had never allowed myself to explore. Hazel continued helping me with the details, showing me how confidence came from the way a person carried themselves. When everything was finished, I looked into the mirror and saw someone who seemed happier and more comfortable. I thanked my sister and hugged her, grateful for the patience and kindness she had shown me. She reminded me that family was there to support each other through every discovery in life. When I walked back into the kitchen, my mother looked surprised for a moment. Then her face filled with pride and happiness. "You look so confident," she said with a smile. I asked her if she really meant it, and she told me that the most beautiful thing she saw was not the outfit or the appearance, but the happiness on my face. She explained that she had always loved me exactly as I was. She said that from the moment I was born, I had been her precious child, and nothing could ever change that. Hearing those words filled me with emotion. I realized that the love and acceptance from my mother and sister were the most important parts of my journey. That day became a special memory. We spent hours looking through old clothes, sharing stories, laughing, and creating moments that brought us closer together. Every new style I tried taught me something about confidence and self-expression. As evening arrived, we sat together watching television like we always did. For the first time, I felt completely comfortable exploring this side of myself while surrounded by the people who cared about me most. Over time, I continued learning more about fashion, creativity, and personal expression. My mother and sister encouraged me to be confident and never let other people decide who I should be. Growing up was not always easy. Sometimes people at school struggled to understand someone who was different from them. There were difficult moments, but I also found kindness from people who accepted me for who I was. The support of my friends helped me become stronger. I learned that true confidence does not come from changing yourself to please others. It comes from accepting yourself and finding people who appreciate you. As the years passed, I continued discovering my own identity and the things that made me happy. My journey was not about becoming someone completely different. It was about understanding myself more deeply. My family remained my greatest source of encouragement. Their love helped me face challenges, follow my dreams, and become the person I wanted to be. Looking back, I realized that the most important transformation was not something people could see from the outside. The biggest change happened inside me, learning to accept myself, trust my feelings, and embrace the person I was becoming. Thank you for joining me on another unforgettable journey. This story is a reminder that everyone has their own path, their own dreams, and their own way of expressing who they truly are. If you enjoyed this story, remember to follow for more inspiring tales. Keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep believing in the power of storytelling. See you in the next chapter.